You are listening to the Taking New Ground 21-day fasting and prayer podcast from Pleasant Valley Baptist Church. Today's reading comes from the book of Joshua, chapters 14 through 17. Chapter 14. The Israelites received these portions that the priest Eleazar, Joshua son of Nun, and the family heads of the Israelite tribes gave them in the land of Canaan. Their inheritance was by lot, as the Lord commanded through Moses for the 9.5 tribes, because Moses had given the inheritance to the 2.5 tribes beyond the Jordan. But he gave no inheritance among them to the Levites. The descendants of Joseph became 2 tribes, Manasseh and Ephraim. No portion of the land was given to the Levites except cities to live in, along with the pasture lands for their cattle and livestock. So the Israelites did as the Lord commanded Moses, and they divided the land. The descendants of Judah approached Joshua at Gilead, and Caleb, son of Jephunneh the Kenizzite, said to him, "You know what the Lord promised Moses, the man of God, at Kadesh Barnea about you and me. I was 40 years old when Moses, the Lord's servant, sent me from Kadesh Barnea to scout the land, and I brought back an honest report. My brothers who went with me caused the people to lose heart, but I followed the Lord my God completely. On that day Moses swore to me, 'The land where you have set foot will be an inheritance for you and your descendants forever, because you have followed the Lord my God completely.' As you see, the Lord has kept me alive these 45 years as he promised, since the Lord spoke this word to Moses while Israel was journeying in the wilderness. Here I am today, 85 years old. I am still as strong today as I was the day Moses sent me out. My strength for battle and for daily tasks is now as it was then. Now give me this hill country that the Lord promised me on that day, because you heard then that the Anakim were there, as well as the large fortified cities. Perhaps the Lord will be with me, and I will drive them out, as the Lord promised." Chapter 15. Now the allotment for the tribe of the descendants of Judah by their clans was in the southernmost region, south to the wilderness of Zin and over to the border of Edom. Their southern border began at the tip of the Dead Sea on the south bay, and went south of the Scorpion's Ascent, proceeded to Zin, ascended to the south of Kadesh Barnea, passed Hezron, ascended to Adar, and turned to Karka. It proceeded to Asmon and to the brook of Egypt, and so the border ended at the Mediterranean Sea. This is your southern border. Now the eastern border was along the Dead Sea to the mouth of the Jordan. The border on the north side was from the bay of the sea at the mouth of the Jordan. It ascended to Beth Hoglah, proceeded north of Beth Araba, and ascended to the stone of Bohan south of Reuben. Then the border ascended to Debir from the valley of Achor, turning north to Gilgal that is opposite the ascent of Adumim, which is south of the ravine. The border proceeded to the waters of En Shemesh, and ended at En Rogel. From there the border ascended Ben Hinnom Valley to the southern Jebusite slope, that is, Jerusalem, and ascended to the top of the hill that faces Hinnom Valley on the west, at the northern end of Rephaim Valley. From the top of the hill the border curved to the spring of the waters of Nephtoah, went to the cities of Mount Ephron, and then curved to Baalah, that is, Kiriath Jearim. The border turned westward from Baalah to Mount Seir, went to the northern slope of Mount Jearim, that is, Kesalon, descended to Beth Shemesh, and proceeded to Timnah. Then the border reached to the slope north of Ekron, curved to Shikharon, proceeded to Mount Baalah, went to Jabneel, and ended at the Mediterranean Sea. Now the western border was the coastline of the Mediterranean Sea. This was the boundary of the descendants of Judah around their clans. He gave Caleb son of Jephunneh the following portion among the descendants of Judah, based on the Lord's instruction to Joshua. Kiriath Arba, that is, Hebron. Arba was the father of Anak. Caleb drove out from there the 3 sons of Anak, Sheshai, Ahiman, and Talmai, descendants of Anak. From there he marched against the inhabitants of Debir, which used to be called Kiriath Sepher. And Caleb said, "Whoever attacks and captures Kiriath Sepher, I will give my daughter Achsah to him as a wife." So Othniel, son of Caleb's brother Kenaz, captured it, and Caleb gave his daughter Achsah to him as a wife. When she arrived, she persuaded Othniel to ask her father for a field. As she got off her donkey, Caleb asked her, "What can I do for you?" She replied, "Give me a blessing. Since you have given me land in the Negev, give me the springs also." So he gave her the upper and lower springs. This was the inheritance of the tribe of the descendants of Judah by their clans. These were the outermost cities of the tribe of the descendants of Judah toward the border of Edom in the Negev: Kabzeel, Eder, Jagur, Kena, Dimona, Adada, Kadesh, Hazor, Ithnan, Ziph, Telem, Baaloth, Hazor Hadada, Kiriath Hezron, that is, Hazor, Amam, Shema, Moloda, Hazar-Gada, Heshmon, Beth-Pelet, Hazar-Shual, Beersheba, Bizathiah, Baalah, Lim, Ezem, Eltolad, Kezel, Hormah, Ziklag, Madmannah, Sansannah, Lebaoth, Shilhim, Ain, and Rimmon, 29 cities in all, with their settlements. In the Judean foothills, Eshtaol, Zorah, Ashna, Zanoah, En-Gannim, Tappuah, Enam, Jarmuth, Abdullam, Soko, Azekah, Shaharaim, Aditham, Kedarah, and Gederothaim, 14 cities with their settlements. Zenon, Hadashah, Migdal-Gad, Dibon, Mizpeh, Joktheel, Lachish, Bozkath, Eglon, Kabon, Lama, Chitlish, Gederoth, Beth-Dagon, Naamah, and Makkedah, 16 cities with their settlements. Libnah, Ether, Ashan, Iftah, Ashna, Nezib, Keglah, Akzib, and Mareshah, 9 cities with their settlements. Ekron, with its surrounding villages and settlements. From Ekron to the sea, all the cities near Ashdod with their settlements. Ashdod, with its surrounding villages and settlements. Gaza, with its surrounding villages and settlements. To the brook of Egypt, and the coastline of the Mediterranean Sea. In the hill country, Shamir, Jatir, Soko, Dana, Kiriath-Sanah, that is, Debir, Anab, Eshtemoh, Anim, Goshen, Holon, and Gilo, 11 cities with their settlements. Arab, Duma, Eshan, Janam, Beth-Tappuah, Aphekah, Humtah, Kiriath Arba, that is, Hebron, and Zior, 9 cities with their settlements. Maon, Carmel, Ziph, Juttah, Jezreel, Jokdeam, Zanoah, Cain, Gibeah, and Timnah, 10 cities with their settlements. Halhul, Beth-Zur, Gedor, Maarath, Beth-Anoth, and Eltekon, 6 cities with their settlements. Kiriath-Baal, that is, Kiriath-Jearim, and Rabbah, 2 cities with their settlements. In the wilderness, Beth-Arba, Middin, Sakakah, Nibshan, the city of Salt, and En-Gedi, 6 cities with their settlements. But the descendants of Judah could not drive out the Jebusites who lived in Jerusalem, so the Jebusites still live in Jerusalem among the descendants of Judah today. Chapter 16. The allotment for the descendants of Joseph went from the Jordan at Jericho to the waters of Jericho on the east, through the wilderness ascending from Jericho into the hill country of Bethel. From Bethel it went to Luz and proceeded to the border of the Archites by Adaroth. It then descended westward to the border of the Japhletites, as far as the border of lower Beth-Horon, then to Gezer, and ended at the Mediterranean Sea. So Ephraim and Manasseh, the sons of Joseph, received their inheritance. This was the territory of the descendants of Ephraim by their clans. The border of their inheritance went from Adaroth Adar on the east to upper Beth-Horon. In the north the border went westward from Mikmethath. It turned eastward from Taanath-Shiloh, and it passed east of Janoah. From Janoah it descended to Adaroth and Naarah, then reached Jericho and went to the Jordan. From Tappuah the border went westward along the brook of Cana and ended at the Mediterranean Sea. This was the inheritance of the tribe of the descendants of Ephraim by their clans, together with the cities set apart for the descendants of Ephraim within the inheritance of the descendants of Manasseh, all these cities with their settlements. However, they did not drive out the Canaanites who lived in Gezer. So the Canaanites still live in Ephraim today, but they are forced laborers. Chapter 17. This was the allotment for the tribe of Manasseh as Joseph's firstborn. Gilead and Bashan were given to Machir, the firstborn of Manasseh and the father of Gilead, because he was a man of war. So the allotment was for the rest of Manasseh's descendants by their clans, for the sons of Abiezer, Helek, Azriel, Shechem, Hepher, and Shemida. These are the male descendants of Manasseh, son of Joseph, by their clans. Now Zelophehad, son of Hepher, son of Gilead, son of Machir, son of Manasseh, had no sons, only daughters. These are the names of his daughters: Mahlah, Noah, Hoglah, Milcah, and Tirzah. They came before the priest Eleazar, Joshua son of Nun, and the leaders, saying, "The Lord commanded Moses to give us an inheritance among our male relatives." So they gave them an inheritance among their father's brothers, in keeping with the Lord's instruction. As a result, 10 tracts fell to Manasseh, besides the land of Gilead and Bashan, which are beyond the Jordan, because Manasseh's daughters received an inheritance among his sons. The land of Gilead belonged to the rest of Manasseh's sons. The border of Manasseh went from Asher to Michmethath near Shechem. It then went southward toward the inhabitants of En Tappuah. The region of Tappuah belonged to Manasseh, but Tappuah itself on Manasseh's border belonged to the descendants of Ephraim. From there the border descended to the brook of Cana. South of the brook, cities belonged to Ephraim among Manasseh's cities. Manasseh's border was on the north side of the brook and ended at the Mediterranean Sea. Ephraim's territory was to the south and Manasseh's to the north, with its sea as its border. They reached Asher on the north and Issachar on the east. Within Issachar and Asher, Manasseh had Bethshean, Ibleam, and the inhabitants of Dor with their surrounding villages, the inhabitants of Endor, Taanach, and Megiddo, the 3 cities of Naphath, with their surrounding villages. The descendants of Manasseh could not possess these cities because the Canaanites were determined to stay in this land. However, when the Israelites grew stronger, they imposed forced labor on the Canaanites, but did not drive them out completely. Joseph's descendants said to Joshua, "Why did you give us only one tribal allotment as an inheritance? We have many people because the Lord has been blessing us greatly." "If you have so many people," Joshua replied to them, "go to the forest and clear an area for yourselves there in the land of the Perizzites and the Rephaim, because Ephraim's hill country is too small for you." But the descendants of Joseph said, "The hill country is not enough for us, and all the Canaanites who inhabit the valley area have iron chariots, both at Bethshean and its surrounding villages, and in the Jezreel Valley." So Joshua replied to Joseph's family, that is, Ephraim and Manasseh, "You have many people and great strength. You will not have just one allotment, because the hill country will be yours also. It is a forest, clear it, and outlying areas will be yours. You can also drive out the Canaanites, even though they have iron chariots and are strong." Today's devotional thought is, remembering how God has provided for your family, your church, and the world. In Joshua, God was very specific about what he was giving to the different tribes of Israel so that they could care for their people. God was generous to his people and blessed them greatly. Consider how God has been generous to you, to your family, your church, and the world. Praise God in prayer today for his provisions. Confess the ways you have not trusted in him, but have trusted instead in other things. Journal God's activity in your life. List areas of sin in your life and, in repentance, ask for forgiveness. Remember the truth of 1 John 1:9.